Good day to members of the media and the listening public. I am joined here today by the Minister of Public Works, Lieutenant Colonel David Burch. In today's press conference, I will share with you the Ministry of Labor's policy proposals in support of Bermuda's economic development. I will also provide an update on the Wage Commission's Living Wage and Minimum Wage Initiative, as well as the Unemployment Insurance Program to be established for the future. Immigration. I'll first speak about immigration. You should know that immigration has been used globally as a tool to develop societies while bringing in the right people at the right times. For example, the one-year work from Bermuda policy was brought to the fore as a result of the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. It attracts persons who don't take jobs but instead contribute to the island's economy. The right people at the right time. While we may not always agree with the way in which this tool should be used, it is imperative that it is used to stop the bleeding and help move Bermuda towards rebuilding an economy that benefits all Bermudians. The Bermuda Department of Statistics report that Bermuda's population projections 2016 to 2026 provides valuable insight as we consider Bermuda's immigration policy moving forward. The 2018 report made clear that the need for Bermuda to take action given the projected demographic shifts for 2016 to 2026. These projected demographic shifts have significant implications for Bermuda's future. In summary, Bermuda's population is expected to decline as the number of births do not exceed the number of deaths. Number two, there will be a continued shift in the island's age structure as the population ages, and Bermuda's evolving demographic profile will have fewer children and an older workforce and more seniors. In order to combat the harsh realities resulting from a population decline, we need positive net immigration. That is, less immigration or people leaving the country to live elsewhere, and more immigration or people entering the country to live. It should also be noted that once a small segment, older residents are now an expanding portion of Bermuda's population. The implications of this aging population will result in increased financial burden on the government, further exacerbated by the decrease in the number of working people. As we know, a high number of skilled and talented workers who contribute to the economy by way of paying taxes, paying rent, purchasing houses, etc., benefit the economy. In that vein, the aim of immigration policy is to increase opportunity for Bermudians and to help improve government's current fiscal position. To put it plainly, the current reality is that Bermuda is in serious financial trouble. According to the Minister of Finance, the 2021 deficit of $295 million is unsustainable. The steadily declining population has exacerbated by the exodus of many work permit holders. It is important to note that population levels cannot naturally adjust in a timely fashion, and therefore immigration policy is required. Progressive immigration policy will help increase our workforce, helping to ensure sustainable economic growth and retention and expansion of the working population, thereby supporting economic growth. If we do not use immigration as a means to support economic growth, we risk falling off the fiscal cliff, which will prevent the government from providing for Bermuda and her people in a way in which we have become accustomed. If Bermuda is going to better her fiscal situation, we must all embrace the bold steps needed to confront this situation. In this regard, the Ministry of Labor has or is embarking on the following: implementation of the Economic Investment Certificate that entitles a person to reside in Bermuda while contributing to the economic development of the island, amending the current policy requiring Bermudian parents to prove domicile for children born overseas. This will make it easier for children born abroad to obtain Bermuda status, enabling them to take up permanent residency at some point. Continuing the one-year Work from Bermuda policy, which has yielded nothing but positive results, with over 530 applicants approved and interest from businesses wishing to set up their business in Bermuda on a long-term basis. Increased visitor stays from 90 to 180 days in an attempt to partially offset the drastic decline in tourism. Already, we see visitors wishing to reside in Bermuda longer than the 180-day period. 5. As indicated in the 2020 speech from the throne, seeking provisions to support normalized residency of long-term residents who consider Bermuda their home but cannot call Bermuda their home. Additionally, the Immigration Reform Working Group will be looking to consider issues surrounding Bermuda status. These initiatives may be considered bold to some, however, maintaining the status quo will undoubtedly bring about an untenable situation for Bermuda and her people. These proposals provide immediate solutions to addressing Bermuda's declining fiscal position, whilst other tools, such as increasing the birth rate, diversifying the economy, require significantly more time to reach a sustainable level. Secondly, the Ministry can advise that the Wage Commission continues their work in determining the requirements for a basic standard of living in Bermuda, and will recommend the minimum hourly wage and a minimum living wage rate to be prescribed by the Minister. The current Wage Commission is chaired by Mr. Cordell Riley. A report pertaining to a minimum wage is expected by the end of February 2021, while a subsequent report on a living wage is expected in the next fiscal period. Upon receipt of the reports from the Wage Commission, the government will review the recommendations and considerations with an aim to table in Parliament a wage bill that will establish a statutory minimum wage and a national living wage. The establishment of a minimum and living wage rates will help support families that are struggling because of low wage rates that do not allow them to cover the basic needs such as housing and food. Bermuda's high cost of living and decades of stagnant wages gives an even greater need for the establishment of a decent wage rate. It is no doubt that the current economic crisis has increased wage disparities, leading to greater levels of income inequality. It is time for Bermuda to do away with starvation wages. Last but not least, in relation to the unemployment insurance program, the Ministry has invited industry stakeholders to provide feedback through the Labor Advisory Council on the implementation of the government's proposed unemployment insurance program by Monday, February 8, 2021. Pursuant to the Public Treasury Administrations and Payments Act 1969, the Unemployment Insurance Fund was established on the 18th of March 2002, with the Ministry of Finance having the ability to set aside sums of funds for the consolidation from the Consolidated Fund. At this time, only the government makes contributions to the Unemployment Insurance Fund to maintain its existence. Since March of 2020, the government has paid over $58 million in unemployment benefit. This level of expenditure by the government is unsustainable. An unemployment insurance program supported by additional funding by employee and employer contributions is being considered, reducing the burden on the government and ensuring that funds are readily available when needed. A successful implemented unemployment insurance fund will provide financial support to individuals following job losses, assuming that they all meet the predetermined eligibility requirements. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It was December 17, 2020, when the Executive Director of the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, Mrs. Erika Smith, and I launched a short-term stimulus program to a maximum value of Bermuda dollars $13.385 million, and invited small to medium-sized contractors to participate. There's an urgent need to provide stimulus to the local economy in order to retain and boost employment numbers in the wake of the economic downturn brought on by COVID-19. The Ministry of Public Works has compiled a list of shovel-ready projects that are executable within 3 months. These projects are mostly infrastructure improvements and will not add further burden to government operational expenses. The project selection principles are to maximize the employment of the private sector while providing much-needed refreshing of neglected infrastructure. The Ministry released a request for suppliers' qualifications across the multiple disciplines to generate a pre-qualification list of approved contractors and companies that can participate in the program. This approach is in line with pre-qualification procedure and approved contractor lists of the Code of Practice for Project Management and Procurement. The pre-qualification criteria will include a scoring of technical competence, local employment benefit, and a schedule of unit rates. Suitable companies will then be added to an approved contractor list. With the development of the list, the Ministry would then use the restricted procedure to quickly obtain 3 or more quotations from the various suppliers grouped by suitability and vocation to select a contractor for each project. Where works are specialized or contractors' availability is limited, either through companies already obtaining a project from the program or natural scarcity, a single source contract will be negotiated based upon the unit rates. The work to be done under this contract and in accordance with these specifications consists of furnishing of equipment, materials, supervision, labor, technical knowledge, and skills necessary to satisfactorily and safely complete the job as outlined in the agreement. To ensure allocation of the stimulus funding across all the participating businesses, the Ministry will maintain a register of approved contractor lists and awarded contracts to ensure that no one company monopolizes the project list. Once a company obtains a project, they will be rotated to the bottom of the list to allow other companies an opportunity for work. The guiding principle would be to prioritize all companies that provide the most employment benefit per dollar spent and spread the work among Bermudian-owned and operated businesses. The plan is to utilize medium to small contractors for the work that will be done at dock and building refurbishments, new construction, canal clearance, roadside fencing, and health and safety improvements. A consultant project manager, Mr. Robert Richardson, has been assigned by the Ministry to this project to coordinate the efforts of all those involved as well as liaise with the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. The Ministry is working in consultation with the Office of Project Management and Procurement and as well as the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. The intention is for BEDC to provide assistance to small and medium-sized contractors to complete the required submission documents for the RFSQ. We recognize that some small to medium-sized companies may not have the administrative support to respond to government solicitations and the associated procurement requirements, and so assistance is being provided by BEDC. As of January 20th, 175 companies have been emailed to raise awareness about the program and emails to the professional organizations to advise them of it as well. BEDC has had 81 virtual session registrations and 35 virtual session actual attendance. They've advertised via numerous platforms, social media, radio interviews, Facebook, website, and email blasts. The planned sessions totaled 20, but have been reduced to 13 as no one registered for 7 of those. One more virtual session is planned for February 2nd. Up to this morning, we have received 36 official individual submissions, with 8 being fully completed to stimulus@gov.bm. During early discussion, some small contractors have highlighted impediments to participating, such as mobilization costs and delayed payment schedules. As this program is operating under specific financial instructions that allow for flexibility, I've asked the team to explore ways that we can address both of these impediments. Let me encourage those who would not normally apply to do so. We are determined to involve as many small and medium-sized contractors as possible and are providing every opportunity for them to become involved. I invite all those who view this announcement and know a small or medium-sized contractor to inform them of this initiative. They can gain more information by signing on to the government website or emailing stimulus@gov.bm. We can pay our people to sit at home, or we can pay them to repair our infrastructure. We choose the latter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ministers. At this time, we would accept questions from the media.
Good day, Minister Hayward.
Good afternoon.
You made reference to the need for something to be done about immigration, presumably Bermudians choosing to leave the country. And I'm wondering if your ministry has identified some of the fundamental reasons behind the decision by those Bermudians to leave Bermuda.
I think the two primary reasons is opportunity and affordability. And so both of which we're aiming to address. Number one, we want to address opportunity via ensuring that they have access to the job market and that they're suitably skilled and qualified to take advantage of the jobs that exist. But we're doing ongoing work within the government to reduce the cost of living for Bermudians.
You also made reference to a properly structured unemployment insurance program. I believe one was referenced in the PLP platform in 2017. Can you explain the difference fundamentally between the type of program that you envision versus financial assistance?
So financial assistance is a needs-based program that you qualify on based on your means. So after we've done a household assessment, we've determined that your expenditure exceeds your income, and so your income's not enough for your expenditure. That's all you get on financial assistance. However, unemployment insurance is something that both employers, the government, and employees will pay into for, let's say, 52 weeks. You will be entitled to 13 weeks of unemployment benefit. Certainly, the contributions you pay in are not equal to the benefit you receive on the back end, because you would have the entire working population paying into the unemployment insurance program. That's how they typically work.
So it sounds similar to what we see in the U.S., where if you've been working for a period of time and you lose your job suddenly, you are entitled to X amount of weeks or months to automatic assistance.
Correct. And so this will actually be what we consider a social protection, where if somebody loses the job, this is what they actually lend on initially prior to going to financial assistance.
Thank you, Minister.
Owen Johnson Barnes, Royal Gazette. In the discussion that you just had, you announced that there were some plans to get more people employed in improving the island's infrastructure. We know there are several construction jobs, essentially, that have been announced and we've not heard anything recently from. For example, the arbitration center. Can you tell us if there's any sort of update on when that project might begin and when people might be employed on the ground here for that?
That project is currently being, and the financing of it is currently being assessed by the Ministry of Finance. Once that approval comes through, then we'll have an announcement to make.
In a similar position, there's the Bermudiana Beach Resort. I know it had been announced previously that it was going to be opening last summer. Obviously, that has not happened. And with the pandemic, it's quite understandable. Can you give us any update as to when that project might move forward? Now, we just had planning applications put forward for some revisions.
The work there is still ongoing. We are having discussions with the co-developer about refinancing, and as soon as those are finished, an announcement will be made then too.
Similarly, you mentioned earlier on in the reasons why people might be leaving, the cost of living is an issue. I know the Progressive Labor Party has pushed hard on trying to create affordable housing. Can you tell us any update on perhaps new projects with that, the expansion of the project in St. David's, for example?
All of those are subjected to the reduction in financing. We are currently in discussions with the Ministry of Finance about getting some relief out of the stimulus package, in addition to what I just updated on. And as soon as those are successful,
Thank you very much.
Okay, do we have any further questions from the media? All right, thank you all for attending and have a great day.